Hello, fellow rebel capitalists. Hope you're well. So chalk this up to one of those things that just seems weird. It's like the propaganda that we first started to get with the medicine during the cerveza sickness. At that time, nobody knew what was going on. I mean, I was one of the first people to start talking about the potential that this could be really, really bad. Along, Dr. Chris Martinson, obviously, I got to give him a hat tip, and my good buddy Eric Townsend. They were the first people that I really heard talk about this back in January of 2020. And then I started talking about it at the end of January. And, but back then, my point is that nobody knew what on earth was going on or how bad it would be or what was going on with the masks or the medicine or any of this stuff. But what became very clear right away was that what we were getting, the mainstream narrative, there was something that seemed off about that. You fast forward to when Russia invaded Ukraine, and it was the same thing. I was one of the people, along with all you guys, that was kind of just saying, whoa, time out here. This is the media that have been lying to us, that we know have been lying to us, trying to manipulate us for the last year. Now, all of a sudden, we're just assuming that these same exact people are just telling the truth about what's happening over here. What? Something's off. And remember, especially when I started to see the media reports about the football stadiums in Europe that were doing the flags, and it just was like, wait a minute, what? It was the same type of vibe I got from that mainstream push for everyone to get the medicine. Pregnant women, babies, then we go into the mandates and all these things. It was just like, wait a minute, we're not even paying attention to any type of cost benefit analysis, or we just have to, I don't get that. It's just something didn't seem right. And it's the exact same feeling I got when I looked at this story. Let's go over here. And again, I'm having a hard time believing that this is real. This is from Zero Hedge. And I went through this briefly, and I guess this is true. So Zelensky tries to reassure Hollywood A-listers at the Golden Globes there will be no third world war. First of all, I don't know what he has to do with that. That seems like more of a decision between the United States and Russia. Maybe I'm wrong. But the first thing that caught my attention was, why? Why is Zelensky even speaking at the Golden Globes? Like, what? Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Golden Globes are the awards for like television, isn't it?
I'm checking right now. I'm not sure what it is.
I think it's the awards that show for TV, where the Oscars are like for film.
Yeah, it's all for movies and shows.
That's TVs and shows. And then the Grammys, that's for musicians, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, but then I'm reading right here in the article that he spoke at the Grammys as well. So now he's not physically speaking, let me be clear. He's doing it just via satellite. But still, what? Why? This is an awards show for actors. And we've got Zelensky's, like, what's the connection there? Like, no one is just saying, why? Why do we have this guy? I mean, it's just, again, it seems like this is really being pushed on us, overtly being pushed on us, similar to the way the medicines were. And as you guys know, I'm no fan of Putin, but I'm no fan of Zelensky either. I'm no fan of any big government. And to say that Ukraine was just a bastion of freedom and liberty prior to Putin going in there is completely insane, right? If anything, there's an argument for Russia being more free than Ukraine prior to the invasion. Again, I'm not excusing any country going in and invading another one. That is inexcusable. But regardless here, setting that aside, I don't, even if you want to put 100% of the blame on Russia, it just seems bizarre to me that a Hollywood award show is inviting someone to come speak, and then that person is actually saying yes. Like I don't get it. Like if Saudi Arabia was invading, I don't know what they're in a conflict with another group. I can't recall right off the top of my head, but let's just say Saudi Arabia is invading, another country that borders them, the UAE or something like that. Are we going to have, like, when in history have the Golden Globes like wanted that person to come speak? It makes absolutely no sense. And why we're trying, it's like every single thing that we see famous actors getting behind and trying to push, to me, just seems like something that we should maybe be skeptical of. That's really, I think, what I'm trying to say. And then this article goes on to say how he just openly, it's not like he's getting a Q&A here, how he openly talks about there being no third world war. Like, why are we going down that path at the Golden Globes? And he says the war in Ukraine is not over yet, but the tide is turning, and it's already clear who will win. Really? Okay. We're not saying that. That's not propaganda. I mean, obviously what Zelensky's doing is he's going to talking to actors because he knows they're very influential, and they're going to go tweet that out. They're going to do Instagram, and that's going to influence the American public, and therefore it's going to be easier for him to get more funding in the future. And that's his game here, most likely. But then another thing that I'd point out is that I guess this was put together by Sean Penn. And I'd encourage you to think through Sean Penn's history with what political leaders he has tried to promote. And if you look at that, he has a track record of promoting the worst. Now, whether he's just gullible, he's a useful idiot, which I think is probably the case. But, he was the one that was trying to promote Hugo Chavez so much. And so it seems like, and I'm not putting Zelensky in that category, but I don't know. I mean, I think it's definitely something that we should consider, that he has had a tendency to gravitate towards insane dictators who brought on horrific policies that devastated their population. That same Sean Penn is the guy that's now gravitating towards Zelensky. Again, I'm not saying Zelensky's in that category, but I don't know. If I was a global leader, I would not want to be buddies with Sean Penn. I'm like, dude, stay away from me, my friend. You're like, I don't want your mojo. Get it away. Get away. But I do think it's maybe interesting is not the right word, but I think it is relevant or could be relevant that Sean Penn is the one that made this connection, and he's the one that actually introed him at the awards ceremony, saying that he is a dreamer. And if the freedom to dream were a spear, Zelensky represents spear's most honed tip. Come on, man. Come on. I mean, Sean, look, we're not talking about Ron Paul here, for heaven's sakes. We're not talking about Gandhi. We're talking about a guy who ran a country that was literally, if you look at the rankings in 2019 from the what is it, the freedom ranking for countries in the world, Ukraine ranked lower than Russia. And we're saying this is the guy who represents, he's now the face of freedom. Like, I get it. We should not condone Russia. That we should denounce that for sure. But I think that we can denounce Russia and Putin and at the same time say, okay, well, that's horrible, but we're definitely not going to promote Zelensky to the face of freedom that we should strive. I mean, no, they both can be bad guys. It is possible for one bad guy to invade another bad guy. Like that's possible. And maybe it goes back to our earlier video, how at least with Hollywood, they're incapable of holding those two thoughts in their head at the same time. And again, let's be honest. Another thing that I find fascinating is that, and this precedes the cerveza sickness and what's going on with Russia and whatnot. But why, as a society, we care about what actors have to say? Like, what? I think that for most normies, they don't know any of these A-listers in Hollywood. I don't know a lot of them, but I've had, in my past life before I retired, I worked with several, maybe not A-listers, like Sean Penn or Brad Pitt or something like that. But I would interact, let's say, with those people quite a bit. And I can tell you that of the people I met, there was an inverse relationship between how good they were at their craft and how mentally stable they were. And one of the ways I know this is I dated quite a few gals in LA that were actresses on a variety of TV shows that I won't go into right now, but some of them you probably watched. And I tell you what, the better the gal was at acting, the better actress she was, the more completely loony she was. I mean, just completely just off the plot, just psychopath. And so again, what you have to ask yourself, what makes a good actor? And it's the ability to get out of your own character and become someone else. You think that mentally stable people can do that just on a whim? No. So we're literally going to the people that we should avoid listening to the most are people in Hollywood and actresses and actors. Those are the people we should, like, if you've got a mic and you're trying to talk to someone about Zelensky, if Sean Penn or Brad Pitt come over, you should like, oh no, this isn't for you. Get away. No, Brad, sorry, buddy. Yeah, nice haircut. Just no, we're talking about something else. You don't need to worry about this. We should do everything in our power to avoid talking to them or getting their opinion on anything that matters in real life. Now, if you want to talk to them about getting into character or lighting or some sort of script or storytelling, then go nuts. Then we should be talking to them. But asking them about minimum wage or inflation or interest rates or Zelensky or Putin, I mean, it shows you where we are as a society. That we're not looking to hear from Thomas Sowell. We're looking to hear from Brad Pitt or from Sean Penn. But the main thing here, when this Russia invasion first came out, I was very skeptical based on where the media was taking this, and especially since 2020. But the more I see what they're doing with Zelensky being on the cover of Vogue and, speaking at the White House or in front of Congress, and now going in front of the Golden Goal, the more I'm convinced that something is fishy going on here. We're being there is some sort of intentional push to manipulate opinion for some sort of reason. I don't know what it is, but I'll let you guys be the judge. But whether you're a fan of Zelensky or you don't like him or whatever your opinion is, I would just suggest being rather skeptical of this push to make him look like some sort of hero and the new face of liberty for the globe. That's just go back to 2019. No one in their right mind would have said that about Ukraine or anyone in Ukraine. Nobody would have said that. And it's entirely possible that a bad guy, a real bad guy, can invade another real bad guy. But just because one bad guy invades another bad guy doesn't make the one bad guy a good guy. That's the simplest way I can put it. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening, or in my case, your evening, in your case, your afternoon. As always, make sure that you're standing up for freedom, liberty, free market capitalism, and let's be very suspicious about these narratives and the people the mainstream media is trying to push. I'll see you in the next video.